Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hopefully, everybody out there is doing well. So, I recently saw a question that was left about the Pact Act and is it worth it to file for the Pact Act? Okay. So, I will start out by saying this. All right. The Pact Act has an open window, right, from October 1st, 2022 till October 1st, 2023. It is up to each individual to decide whether or not they want to enroll for toxic screening or apply for the PACT Act, whether it's burn pits, toxic environments, or whatever situation you found yourself in. It is up to you to apply. But I will say this: do your research. Do not rely on myself or anybody else online telling you anything without you yourself doing some research, actually going to the VA, talking to your doctor, talking to whoever at the VA you need to talk to in order to get actual facts about your situation. All right. Sometimes when we're listening to our buddies who's getting other information secondhand, they don't always know all the correct information out there. They only give people a year window for a reason. Now, when you're doing your research, when it comes to the PACT Act, you got to read the fine print as well. All right. Now, let me start out by answering the question that was left behind. If I'm already 100%, what would be the reason to file for the PACT Act? Because I'm already going to be treated for whatever condition. That is very true. Okay. Here's a couple things to consider. And I'm not telling you to file. Okay. I'm going to let you all make that decision on your own. But when someone asks, is it worth it? Again, you got to read the fine print. So I'm going to pull up something real quick that's on the VA's own website. All right. Because if you go and you look at information regarding the PACT Act and you read frequently asked questions, just something that simple, right? If you go right here and it says frequently asked questions, right, from the Department of Veterans Affairs about the PACT Act, right here in small print, I want you to pay attention to what this says, because it says what's new and expanded presumptions, right? This says veterans and survivors can file a claim for all conditions outlined in the PACT Act immediately. Now, why would they add survivors who never went to combat, like your wife or your kids who never went? You know why they did that? Because they know at some point later on, there's going to be a connection between whatever your spouse or your children may have that's going to tie back to what you were exposed to from whatever situation you were in. Toxic burn pits in Afghanistan, Iraq, Agent Orange, whatever it may be. This is how it always happens. If you're paying attention to anything that has happened to veterans throughout history, they always wait until most are dead and gone. And then they recognize, oh, yeah, this is what happened to this era of veterans. And we now recognize it. Well, the family can still go back and put in claims. That's basically what this is saying, because they know later on down the line, there's going to be a connection. It may be a connection to breast cancer. It may be a connection to some kind of other cancer or some kind of other disease that was caused by you being exposed, you having a child with your wife, or you being around your wife, or you being around your kids. That's what this is all about. This is why you have that 1 year window. Okay. Something else to think about real quick. For those of you who are questioning whether or not to file for the PACT Act, and you're like, I don't want them to go into my file. I don't want them to find something that could possibly cause me to lose my rating or have an issue. Okay. You all do realize, and I've made several videos about this, that you have rules. The VA has rules They can't just go in and say, we don't like this person, we're going to take away their rating. Okay. I have, I think, 2 videos on this. Okay. When it comes to rules, you have the 5-year rule, the 10-year rule, the 20-year rule, and the 100% rule. Okay. Once you hit 10 years of your service connection, and it goes by the date of the service connection, not by the original date and you became 100% later on. No, it goes by the date you got the service connection. For example, if you got a service connection in 2000 for 30%, but you became 100% in 2012, that rating that you got in 2000 is service connected, whatever it may be. The one that you got in 2012, okay, you still got a ways to go before you get to 100%. No, sorry, 20 years before it reaches that final where it can't do anything. But 10 years, at 10 years, the VA cannot take service connection away. They can reduce it, but they can't take it away at 10 years. At 10 years, you are protected. Now, can they go from 70 to 30 or 70 to 10? Sure, they can do that, but they cannot take it away. At 20 years is where you have full protection. The only way they can take it away at 20 years is for them to be able to prove fraud. But even at 10 years, the VA has to prove, and it can't be done with just one exam. The VA has to prove at 10 years, this is no longer your situation. So to give you an example, myself and Mike talked about this, I think it was 2 years ago now. I had a CNP exam. When they did my CNP exam, they looked at everything, right? And they just confirmed what was already there in my CNP exam. But here's the situation. I've been 100% since 2010. That happened in 2022 or 2021, whatever it was, right? And it wouldn't have mattered because I got a separate 100% for just my left leg only. And then I got ratings outside of that. Even if they took everything away from my left leg, I still got ratings outside of that that still would have made me 100%. You understand what I'm saying? So when people go, hey, don't poke the bear, and this is for people that just like to file frivolous claims. You just file a claim knowing you ain't got no shot in hell of getting anything. You just file it. I'm gonna file for the auto grant, knowing you don't have nothing to file to qualify for the auto grant. Or I'm gonna file for the housing grant, knowing you don't qualify for the housing grant. Or I'm gonna file for aid and attendance when you don't even need it. Those are just frivolous claims you just throwing out there wasting time. But for people who have legitimate issues, you were in and you suffered from whatever, right? When you were in Iraq. Okay. Why not put in a claim for the Pact Act? Why not just put that information in there? Because here's another thing people don't understand about the Pact Act. The Pact Act is a presumption. This is not you having to prove a damn thing. The VA is already saying, we're going to assume you have these things simply because you were there. Even if you don't show any signs of whatever it is, they're going to presume it came from, if you ever developed any of these symptoms, this came from your time in service at this location. That's what a presumptive is. A presumptive means you ain't even got to prove you have it. You just need to prove you were at that location. That's it. The fact that you were at that location means we're going to assume you got that from that location. That's what a presumptive is. This is totally different than you filing a claim and you have to prove your service connection versus you filing a claim under the Pact Act and all you got to show is that you were in that location. That's it. Huge difference. Huge difference, guys. And I don't think people understand that. What's up, Todd? How you doing? Mr. Lawson, how you doing today? Let's see. They're getting paid more money. Yeah, you got the 55-year-old rule also. What's up, Barry? How you doing? All right. So, man, all I'm saying to you guys is, look, I can't tell you whether you need to file or not file. That is up to you. Only you can make that choice. But what I can tell you is they gave you a window to do this. If it was something that they weren't worried about people coming back later on and filing, they wouldn't give it only a year. They gave it a year for a reason. They only gave you 1 year to do this. They did it for a reason. Now, I don't know what everybody's went through, where everybody served, and everybody's situation. But if there's a chance that I may develop cancer down the road because I was exposed to something in Iraq, even though I'm not showing signs right now, right? And I'm going to get service because I'm 100% regardless. But if it turns out I have cancer 5 years from now, and it was caused because of my time in service in Iraq, and now I need a caregiver, well, guess what? I've allowed that window to close. What was presumed because I was at that location is now no longer presumed. I got to now prove that that situation caused my cancer. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas me signing up for this, it's already assumed that I got it. I just don't show signs. As soon as I show signs, then it's already assumed I have it. That's an easier way to get a service connection versus I do nothing. I now develop it. I didn't go to the time I had the window, and now I got to go through the normal process of trying to prove I now have it. That is the biggest difference between presumptions and you doing nothing and having to go back and reprove everything just like a regular claim. I can't put it no simpler than that. This is the VA saying, yes, all you got to do is let us know, do a pre-screening and put in a claim, whether you show signs or not. If you ever do, we're just going to assume you already have it. Versus you do nothing, you develop it, now you got to fight to prove it. That is the biggest difference between filing for the Pact Act and doing nothing. So if you want to take that chance, fine. And it works the same way with your survivors. Even though you may not have developed nothing, your spouse may have developed something because of your exposure. Now she has to file a claim, but because you didn't do it, she now has to go through a much harder process because you didn't want to do something as simple as putting a claim for the Pact Act. And again, I'm not trying to make it sound like you have to do this because you're a grown man or woman. It is your choice of whether or not you want to file. I'm simply answering a question. And once again, please, guys, do your research. Do your research. Understand exactly what is going on here. All right? Because if the government's going to say, we're just going to give it to you and assume you have it because you were at the Asian theater, then hell, I'm going to go, me personally, I'm going to sign up. I've already signed up because if anything happens to me later on, well, it's already presumed that I got it. I don't have to take any extra steps in order to prove that. You understand what I'm saying? For those of you who potentially may have like erectile dysfunction, and let's say it was caused because, I don't know, they find out later on there was some radiation out there that reduces your white blood cell count, and now you can't do what you used to do because of that exposure. Well, it's assumed, so I don't have to do anything other than to prove I was there. That's it. Versus now I got to go get these exams. I got to go to CNPs. I got to go do this and do this, and then hope they say I have it because of that versus it's presumed. Okay? All right. One last thing I want to talk about, and then I'm done with the video today, is I talked to you guys a couple of weeks ago about me finding my own doctor here. And I have found my own doctor and my own psychiatrist, right? Well, even with doing all that, guys, I've come to find out it is still much easier just dealing with the VA in the States. So probably starting next year, I'm going to start going to the States 3 times a year just for medication, for follow-ups, and for different things that I need to get. So I would say for anyone who's thinking of traveling abroad other than the Philippines, okay, other than going to Manila, that's a whole different situation. You going to Manila or you going to U.S. territories. That's totally different. If you're going to one of these countries, like here in Colombia, Brazil, Panama, whatever, you're someone who has prosthetic devices, you have specialty medications, or you need specialty shots, right? Or patches, or whatever it may be, right? That's a specialty item. You're going to find when you're in these countries, it is so hard to get things done like that than it is just going to the States, getting fitted, or getting whatever ordered on your next visit. You go back, you pick it up, you take your ass home. You're done with it. You got your 3 months of medication, you got your exam, and anything that you need to do with the VA as far as claims, your stuff is already there. You go to your CMP, cool, whatever. You already done with it. That is much easier than here, bro. I need to get a new AFO. I'm just going to explain how hard this is right now. I need to get a new AFO. The doctor agrees I need an AFO. Gave the information to FMP. Okay, we need you to get an AFO, a new AFO. I go to a location here that's supposed to be a specialty foot doctor, right? First thing the lady tells me is, okay, we can do it, but you're going to need to go to the States in order to get fitted, and then they can send it to us, and then we'll give it to you. I said, well, hell, if I got to go to the States, I might as well just go to the VA and get it done, because it's the same damn thing. So that's why I'm telling you all, man, and that's my particular situation. Now, it might be a little different for someone else, but what I'm trying to explain to you all is there's not going to be a time that I've seen from my time here when it comes to specialty items, specialty things that you're not going to have to go back to the States for. It's just CPAP that I'm dealing with. They wanted to rent me a CPAP. I ain't renting no damn CPAP. I'm just going to go back to the States and get one. My knee braces, right? I need to get one that's falling apart. I need to get it replaced. Oh, we could do it, but we got to order it from the States, and then it may take, it's like, dude, I just go back, get reestablished in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, and just deal with it there. 3 times a year starting next year, dude. That's what I'm having to do, because it's just not an easy process dealing with it over here. And then if you're thinking, okay, these third parties, well, I've already tried to get something done with them, I think 3 different times. They can't do it. First thing they're going to tell you is, okay, well, you may have to go back to the States to get it done. Then why am I even fucking with y'all? Why am I even going through this with you all if I got to go to the States to the VA to get it done? You understand what I'm saying? So for me, that's my plan going into 2024 is to already start in January, at least once every 3 months, go to an appointment, get my medication, and move on from there. What is the name of the program so you can get your meds overseas? The Foreign Medical Program. FMP, Foreign Medical Program. Thank you, Markel's usually on point by answering my question about the Pact Act. Oh, it's all good, Mr. Jones. So, like I said, you have to make that choice. I can't tell you what you should or shouldn't do. Make sure you do your research. Make sure you talk to your doctors at the VA. They know. They may be able to explain it to you or express it to you a different way than I am right now. Okay? All I'm saying is, man, for me and for my family, it is well worth it, because even though it may not happen to me, that doesn't mean that later on they find out that whatever I was exposed to affected my ex-spouse or affected the kids. You understand what I'm saying? So that's for me, but I can't answer that for everybody else. Only thing I can tell you guys is you have federal protections just like any federal employee, depending on the length of time you had your service connections. All right. You have protections. The VA just can't up and just take something away because they feel like it. They have to be able to prove it. The you got to prove your service connection, the same way they got to prove that this was a mistake or whatever it was. Okay. And let me also say this. If you had your service connection for at least 10 years or longer, and let's say the VA made a mistake granting you service connection, after 10 years, it doesn't even matter because it is too late at that point. They can't even take it away. Even if it was a mistake on their end, after 10 years, they can't take it away. They can reduce it still after 10 years, but they cannot take it away. They can't. By law, they cannot take it away. All right. And one last thing, your service connection goes by the date you were given the original. Okay. So, in other words, just so we're all clear, and let's say in 2000, you were given 30%. Okay. That 30% has its own date, 2000. Let's say in 2010, you were given 100%. That 100% doesn't start in 2000. That 100% starts in 2010, which means it's not fully protected until 2030. The one that's in 2000 was protected in 2020. You guys got it? It goes by the date that you were given that service connection. That's why those dates are very important. Attention, the Army Raiders are in the building. Salute. What's up, Mr. Miles? I see you gave us a throwback picture here. Is that you or your son? Can't tell from that picture. I see you go throw a new picture in there. But all right, guys, are there any questions that you all have at this point, man? So I tried to talk about the Pact Act. Make sure you do your research. I talked about the VA not being able to just take your service connections away after 10 years. And then I brought up the situation over here dealing with medical. All right. Now, are there any other questions? And for Mr. Harris, when getting your medications, make sure before you buy anything, you talk to FMP to make sure you can get reimbursed for whatever you buy. Do not just assume if I buy this medication, it's $50 total, everything I need. I'm going to just send FMP the bill. Do not assume that. Always call the Foreign Medical Program first. Explain what you're doing to make sure you're getting reimbursed. If you just go buy stuff, even though you service connected, if you don't do it the way, the steps that they want, they won't pay you. You just spent $50 for nothing. Well, you spent $50, but you're not going to get it back. I won't say for nothing. Okay, that's you. Cool. Thanks for going over the Pact Act. It was a bit confusing to me. It's all good. Hey, like I said, I'm not forcing you or telling anybody to enroll. I'm just trying to explain. And all of this is on the VA's website. If you want to talk to your doctor, you want to talk to your psychiatrist, you want to talk to whoever, cool. Maybe they can express it a little different than I can. I'm not telling you you have to enroll. All I'm saying is, man, understand what it is specifically instead of just, man, my boy said I ain't gonna get no back pay, so it ain't worth enrolling in. That may be true for some. If you're a single person, you ain't never been married, you don't have no kids, hey, that may be the way to go. All I'm saying is, man, you got to read the fine print because it covers more than just you. And if your child has an issue now, just say all of a sudden they've been sick, just constantly sick, and you don't know why. And it comes to find out later on that your exposure, which got passed from your wife or between you two to your child, is now what's causing that. I'm just saying. The pic was from, 1986. Okay. I hear you, Mr. Miles. I can't blow it up any bigger than that. But okay, cool, cool. Appreciate that. All right, guys. That's going to be it for today, man. I got to get ready to get up out of here. I got some stuff to do today. But I appreciate everybody watching as always. Any other questions you guys have, I'm more than happy to try to answer. But always do your research. Always talk to your doctors. Make sure you fully understand what is going on, and then make the best decision for you and your family. Wow, it just took me out. All right, man. Well, that's it. I'm out. Peace. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.